A pleasant day to all of you. It's my pleasure to present to you a research paper entitled Field Evaluation of Different Application Frequencies of Extracts from Tubli Roots or Deris elliptica against diamondback moth or Platelia xylostelia and its impact on the performance of Pechay or Brassica rapa L. Authored by yours truly, Enrique Binias Jr. and Edward C. Dinero Jr. For the introduction, PJ production is one of the contributors of the registered combined output of 373,843.80 metric tons, accompanied by broccoli, cabbage, carrots, and habituillas in 2017 in the Philippines, according to Philippine Statistic Authority 2019. The PGI production was decreased by 0.95% in 2017. That is associated with a decrease of the production of Cordillera Administrative Region, according to Philippine Statistics Authority 2019. One of the factors affecting the decrease of PGI production is the incidence of pests, one of which is the diamondback moth, because this is the most destructive insect pest in crucifers. DBM has become a serious pest of cole crops worldwide because it has been able to develop resistance to insecticides. Severe damage of Pechay due to DBM incidence can be subjected to the application of pesticides. Nowadays, synthetic pesticides should be eliminated in edible commodities to preserve the health of the farmers and consumers from their adverse effects. Organic pesticides can be alternative to synthetic pesticides. Tubli root is found to be the best natural pesticide, for it has a rotenone compound that can kill insect pests, according to Binias 2021. Foliar application of Tubli root extracts will become more effective if it is used in frequency as far as needed application times for the prevention or control of DBM incidence in crucifers. For the objectives of the study, generally, the study aimed to determine the effects of different application frequencies of Tubli root extracts on DBM incidence and growth and yield performance of Pechay. Specifically, this study was conducted to evaluate the controlling effect of Tubli root extracts on the population dynamic of DBM larvae on Pechay. Second, quantify the extent of Pechay damaged by DBM. Third, assess the percent damage of Pechay by DBM. Fourth, evaluate the growth of Pechay in terms of the number of leaves, plant height, and width of leaves at maturity contributed by the use of Tubli root extracts organic pesticide for DBM. And fifth, assess the yield of Pechay in terms of weight, percent marketable plants, and weight of marketable Pechay as influenced by application frequencies of Tubli root extracts. For the methodology, in the experimental design and treatments, the experimental area of 116 square meters was laid out in randomized complete block design, or RCBD, with 3 replications. Each replication was divided into 4 plots at a measure of 3 meters by 2 meters. There were 12 plots in the experiment. An alley of 0.50 meter between each plot was also facilitated. The treatments were designated as follows. Treatment 0, no application. Treatment 1, 7 times application of Tubli root extracts at 3 days interval from transplanting. Treatment 2, 4 times application of Tubli root extracts at 6 days interval from transplanting. Treatment 3, 3 times application of Tubli root extracts at 9 days intervals from transplanting. In the cultural management of procedures, the following were facilitated. First, the land preparation. Second, the soil media preparation and sowing, followed by hardening of seedlings and transplanting. And then the data gathering and harvesting were followed. So the application of Tubli extracts. Tubli root extracts were sprayed to Pechay according to designated treatments. The Tubli root extracts were already diluted to water during the extraction at a ratio of 1:1, 1 kilo of Tubli root to 1 gallon of water. The application of Tubli root extracts was done starting 1 day after transplanting. Table 1 presents the frequency of application in each treatment. The plants were sprayed individually until the entire surface of the leaves was wet using a knapsack sprayer. For the statistical tools and analysis of variance was done using the statistical tool for agricultural research. Treatment means comparison was done using the LSD test. And here are the results. For the population dynamic of DBM larvae, the population dynamic of DBM larvae of Pechay at 7, 14, 21, and 28 days after transplanting is presented in Figure 1. Statistical analysis revealed that the population of DBM was affected by different application frequencies of Tubli root extracts. The result shows that the best application frequency of Tubli root extracts on Pechay among treatments to control the DBM is the 7 times at 3 days intervals after transplanting, or the treatment 1, for it resulted in the lowest population of DBM at 7, 21, and 28 days after transplanting with a means of 1.90, 0.70, and 0.03 respectively. However, T1 had no significant difference with T2 or treatment 2 or the 4 times with 6 days intervals, except for 28 days after transplanting, as treatment 2 obtained a means of 2.50, 0.83, and 0.23 respectively. Moreover, treatment 2 obtained the lowest number of DBM at 14 days after transplanting with a mean of 0.96, but has no significant difference with treatment 1. On the other hand, treatment 3 obtained significantly more population of DBM relative to those plants without any pesticide applied, with a means of 3.33, 2.36, 2.23, and 0.25 at 7, 14, 21, and 28 days after transplanting, respectively. The result indicates that the application of Tubli extracts with 3 days intervals has a better effect in eliminating DBM larvae on Pechay. This finding is supported by the research work of the team of researchers from the University of the Philippines, who found out that the use of natural insecticide in a liquid formulation is effective in minimizing pests on vegetables. The result also suggested that in continuous application of Tubli root extracts on Pechay in closer intervals lessens the population of DBM larvae. The insects cannot easily research if the frequency of application is high. It means to say that the higher the frequency, the lower is the population dynamic of DBM larvae. For the damage contributed by DBM larvae, the extent and percent damage of Pechay due to the attack of DBM are presented in Figure 2. Statistical analysis revealed that the Pechay plants were affected by the different application frequencies of Tubli root extracts in terms of the damage by DBM. Results show that plants applied with Tubli root extract 7 times at 3 days intervals after transplanting obtained the lowest number of plants with damage by DBM with a means of 1.96, 11.23, 16.28, and 17.18 at 7, 14, 21, and 28 days after transplanting, respectively, which is significantly different from those plants applied with the same pesticide but in lesser frequencies of application. The plants that are found to have the highest number of damage by DBM were those without the application of Tubli root extracts. This could be attributed to the DBM incidence. It is observed that as the plants are getting matured, there is an increase in the number of the damage due to the presence of DBM. However, the lowest population of DBM, the lowest, is the extent of the damage. This resulted in the plants applied with Tubli root extract 7 times at 3 days intervals after transplanting obtaining lesser damage by DBM with a mean of 16% only, which was significantly different from those plants applied with the same pesticide 4 times at 6 days intervals after transplanting with a mean of 24% and 3 times at 9 days intervals after transplanting with a mean of 27%. The most damaged plants are expectedly those without pesticide applied with a mean of 33%. This can be attributed to the population dynamic of DBM and to number of damaged Pechay plants. The lesser the DBM population and a number of damaged plants, the lesser is the percent damage of plants. It means to say that the DBM could cause damage on Pechay as they are present on this graph. For the growth performance, statistical analysis revealed that the growth performance of Pechay was not affected by different application frequencies of Tubli root extracts. This might be due to enough nutrients supplied and the fertility of the soil, plus the favorable conditions. Adequate amount of nutrients supplied and the fertility of the soil can surely improve the growth of the crop. This resulted in all the parameters in the growth performance of Pechay being found to be normal as described by Nakawa et al. 2019. For the yield performance, Figure 4 presents the data on the yield performance of Pechay as affected by different application frequencies of Tubli root extracts. The result reveals that the heaviest plants, highest percent and heaviest marketable plants are those applied with Tubli root extract 7 times at 3 days intervals after transplanting, with a mean of 98.36 grams, 91.77%, and 7.17 kilograms, respectively. These are significantly different from those plants applied with the same pesticide but in lesser frequencies of 4 times at 6 days intervals after transplanting and 3 times at 9 days intervals after transplanting. However, the treatment 2 is not significantly different from treatment 3 by obtaining the average means of 63.24 grams, 70.84%, and 3.52 kilograms, respectively. Plants applied with Tubli root extracts 3 times at 9 days intervals after transplanting or treatment 3 obtained the lowest yield relative to those plants without pesticide applied or treatment is 0. The result implies that the application of Tubli root extracts regularly can boost the yield of Pechay compared to those lesser frequencies since there is less pest incidence and damage to crops due to the pests expectedly results in a low yield. However, in the case of Pechay, applied with Tubli root extract 7 times at 3 days intervals after transplanting, the plant survived and then produced a higher yield. Binias 2021 also reported that the application of natural pesticides in the right amount at the right time can surely control the pest incidence and damage. This conformed to the findings of Visetson and Milne 2001 and Ponce de Leon 1990 that proper management of using Tubli root extracts as natural pesticide applied in crucifers regularly increases the yield of the crop. For the conclusion, the application of Tubli root extracts on Pechay 7 times at 3 days intervals after transplanting or the treatment 1 and 4 times at 6 days intervals after transplanting or the treatment 2 are the best frequencies in controlling the insect pests, for it resulted in the significantly decreasing population dynamic of DBM from 7 to 21 days after transplanting compared to the applications of 3 times at 9 days intervals after transplanting or the treatment 3. However, at 28 days after transplanting, the most effective frequency is the 7 times application of Tubli root extracts at 3 days intervals after transplanting or the treatment 1, for it contributed the significant lowest average DBM population of 0.03 only. Thereby, the number and percent of damage of Pechay by DBM are significantly lesser in plants applied with the Tubli root extract 7 times at 3 days intervals after transplanting or treatment 1, with an average of 11.66 damage plants only at 7 to 28 days after transplanting at weekly intervals and 16% at harvest, respectively. The application frequencies of Tubli root extracts did not affect the growth of Pechay. However, this influenced the yield. The significantly higher yield of Pechay applied with Tubli root extract 7 times at 3 days intervals after transplanting or treatment 1 attributed to the less population dynamic and damage by DBM. It follows that obtaining the average of 9.33 grams per hill, 9.77% marketable plants per plot, and 7.17 kilograms of marketable Pechay plants per plot. For the recommendation, based on the results and conclusion, the following are recommended. First, apply Tubli root extracts on Pechay crops 7 times at 3 days intervals after transplanting to increase the yield, for it will lessen or control the diamondback moth and prevent their damage. Second, similar study may be conducted but add some more application frequencies and treatment combination, and to be sure the amount of diluted Tubli root extracts to be applied. Return on cash expense may also be analyzed. And these are the references included in this study. Thank you.